Já digo que só demora pouquinho para carregar o YouTube. Soft Skills series. My name is Claudio Tejerina. I will be your host. And today we have a very special topic inside Soft Skills, that is growth mindset. And we have a special guest, that is Sandra Rebelo. Sandra Rebelo is currently the head of learning and development at Galp. She has a solid experience in various human capital models. She started her professional activity in process consulting, and she has specialized in human resources consulting. Before joining Galp, she actually worked at Portugal Telecom, where she was the director of attraction, development, and retention. And afterwards, she started working at Oi in Rio de Janeiro as a development director. Throughout her career, she had the opportunity to develop and manage several national and international projects, having coordinated very diverse and geographically dispersed teams. So, Sandra, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. So let's see if this works. Not quite. Oh, yeah. So you challenged me to talk about these soft things about growth mindset and fixed mindset. And the idea is to have lots of participation, because this is a very interesting topic and it's not black and white. So please feel free to put questions along the presentation, and you don't have to wait for the Q&A. And these are our topics for today. So fixed mindset versus growth mindset. Why do we avoid challenges? How do we grow a different mindset? And how do we read the mind of others? And can I ask you to have a paper and a pen near you, please, so that we can do some challenges along the presentation, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so first, the concepts. So a disclaimer. When we're talking about this kind of concepts, it's we have to have in mind that there are no good concepts or bad concepts. And sometimes we feel that, fixed mindset is bad and growth mindset is good. So I want to be this, I want to be that. Well, and for everything, it depends, okay? And it depends a lot on how we were in the context we were, the company where you are, with whom are we working with. So there's no such thing as a good thing or a bad thing. And there's different realities. And now we're talking a lot about growth mindset. And I have a theory, and I'll share it with you. So you'll be having the opportunity to agree or not with me. And that's the interesting thing of these concepts, okay? So again, fixed mindset. Fixed mindset, actually, in a very simple way, is to be good. And this is what we've learned along the way. We've learned this in school, we learned this in universities, and we still continue to learn this in companies, because we have the evaluation process with scales. And so our ambition is to be good, to be the best in class, to provide, to demonstrate the skills, performing better than others. Well, what's the other side of the coin? The other side of the coin is, what if I'm not good enough? What if I don't have the skills? What if I make a mistake? What if others do it better than me? So sometimes when we have a fixed mindset, the other side is we feel threatened by acting, okay? When we talk about growth mindset, the idea is not to be good, it's to be better. Not better than others, but to be better than yourself. So the idea is, how can I improve? How can I develop my skills? How can I perform better than I ever did? Okay? And this is the other side here is a challenge. It's like when you are playing a game and you can go to the next level, and this for you is a thing that you like to do. Is something that the challenge is to go to level 2. How can I improve? How can I develop my skills? And to have the conscious that I grow better when years go by. Okay. So this is, in a nutshell, what these concepts are. Okay. What I want to ask you first is to think in this line, and please draw a line in your paper, and you put knowledge in one way and you put attitude in another, okay? And my question to you is, position yourself in this line where you feel in your professional life knowledge and attitude are. So if you feel like it's 50%, you should position yourself in the middle. If you feel that knowledge is more valued than attitude, you should position yourself near to knowledge. Okay, is this clear? And then I will ask you to open the cameras and to show the paper.
Okay.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, I am ready. I don't know if the audience is also ready. Can we please open the cameras?
It's not mandatory, so if you don't want to show, we'll continue the same.
They are shy, they are shy. But I can show you, Sandra, here. I'm in the middle.
Okay.
The middle.
Okay, so you are in the middle. I saw Natalia. I didn't saw it because it was on blur. But anyway, let's say that most of you are like Claudio and that you really feel that you are in the middle. Okay? If not, please interrupt me and say.
Sandra, sorry to interrupt you, but Luis, I believe that Luis has a question.
Go ahead, Luis.
You are muted.
Yeah, it's not a direct forward to be on the middle or to be on the left or to be knowledge is not always related to attitude. Attitude is not always related to knowledge.
Mm-hmm. True.
Is a very simplistic way to put it, in my opinion. But keep going, please.
Yes, but let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. For instance, when we recruit people, we have the tendency to say, I need these people to come from this university and to have this average and to know about all these things. And then sometimes this can be the thing that's the priority when we are recruiting, or even when we are evaluating. It's the technological side of things, how much you know about one thing, your knowledge. So this is what we feel. Maybe it's in the beginning of lots of the things that we do in companies. Okay, so that's just the challenge. But yes, it's not black and white. That's why it's a line, and you can position yourself when you want. Okay, so the second part of my exercise, of my question to you, is think of someone you admire. It can be anyone. You don't have to share the name of the person. And then I will ask you to write 3 characteristics that you most admire on that person. And then I will ask you to share those characteristics.
Okay, I have here my 3 characteristics, Sandra.
Go ahead.
The characteristics are loyalty, wisdom, and perseverance.
Okay. Loyalty, wisdom, and perseverance. Do you say that those characteristics are more on the attitude side or on the knowledge side?
I believe that wisdom is in the knowledge side, right? More or less, and loyalty and perseverance on the attitude side.
Yeah. Anyone want to share?
Yep. My mother, honesty, hard work, and grit.
Okay. And again, the question, would you say that those characteristics are more on the knowledge or more on the attitude?
They are in both. I mean, you cannot have honesty without knowledge and culture and our attitude and hard work and grit. But if you want to really to spread waters, honesty will be on knowledge, hard work and grit on attitude.
Okay. Anyone else want to share?
I can also share. I would say honesty, bravery, and fairness.
And again, would you say that they were on the knowledge side or on the attitude side?
I think in my case is mostly attitude.
Okay. So again, what's my point? My point is the things that we most admire in others are more related to attitude than to knowledge. Okay, so there are things that we can learn. There are things that come with us, but if we can learn how to change attitude, that will be the things that will make the difference in the future. At least that's what I believe. Okay. The reason I'm doing this is because, well, this issue, growth mindset, has a lot to do with attitude. I believe it has all to do with attitude and none to do with knowledge. Okay. So when did this start? It started when a researcher was looking at children, small children, and whenever they had a problem, some reacted with excitement and others reacted with anxiety. And they were, of course, curious about this, and they started to make questions. And again, when they asked these children why, the ones that were excited, they felt like they have infinite intelligence. And the others, they felt that they had intelligence that was finite to the place where they were in that moment. Let's say if they were in the 4th grade, they say, I'm the best in the 4th grade, but I only know the things that I can understand in the 4th grade. And others were like, they didn't have these boundaries, okay? So, and this kind of changed a little bit of the concept we had, because people were very focused on the IQ, on, again, being the best in class. And then suddenly they realized that being the best was conditioning the people to being better. And so that's why people began to think of these two concepts of fixed and growth, not as one being good and bad, but because actually the fixed was very good. And the idea was, why, if you are so good, can't you give the leap to be even better? And so this was a little bit how this started. Okay, so the other challenge that you posed me was, why do we avoid challenges? And actually, this has a scientific justification. And the scientific justification goes around how your brain works. And well, please apologize for being very simple in this explanation. And there's a lot around this, and then I can share with you some books and some films that talk with detail about this subject. But the brain is a muscle, and being a muscle is like every other muscles. When you practice, you become better, you become more precise. And that's exactly the same with your brain. So when you practice, your brain works by repetition. So the connections and the associations that your brain does, they are stronger and stronger. And by this, and this is really the connections within your neurons, that's the last part of the drawing, they become stronger. And so these connections, they kind of tell your body what is going to happen next. And this is good. This is good because this actually allows you to live. Because imagine if you don't learn that when you put your hand in the fire, it's going to burn. Or that when you're talking to a person, you can see if he or she is frightened or if he or she is funny. And even if you go to the opposite side, imagine that when you go out of bed every day, you couldn't predict what is going to be on the floor. So everything would be very difficult. So these connections actually, they are the ones that make it able to manage your life and to predict things and to act accordingly to what you think is going to happen. And this will help you a lot, okay? So the other side is actually when you try to do different things, your brain pushes to the things that he already knows. Okay, so there's actually a cognitive mechanisms that push you to the things and that gives you, you probably already heard about unconscious bias and has, again, a lot to do with this, that pushes to the things that you think that you know, that you passed with experience, that you passed in your other situations, and then you believe that this is going to happen like that, so you act like if you know that this is going to happen like that. Okay, so this is what happens. Again, there are solutions, okay? And actually, again, research found that there are brains that when receiving feedback, they deal with it better than other brains. So they can activate other connections and then can react to negative feedback or to mistakes in a more lighter or constructive way than other brains. Okay, so this is the base, and this is one of the good things that teaches us that yes, we can actually be different, and we can actually contradict these connections and this way that our brain pushes to. So, and how can we do this? With lots of exercise. Again, it's a muscle, and you know, when you go to the gym and you want to have other kinds of muscles in your body, so you have to practice a lot. And again, it's one thing to know that yes, I know that I must do this because I'm fat, because I'm not healthy. And this is one of the things. And then what happens most of the time is that we go to the gym one time, we go to the gym 2 times, we go to the gym 3 times, nothing happened, and we quit. So that's exactly how the brain works. You have to continuously be aware that you're doing this, and continuously you have to reward yourself and reward your brain to make sure that you can create these new habits. So it's possible, scientifically proved, that it's possible to reconnect the connections that you already made with your brain. But it's hard. It's hard and it takes work, okay? And again, there's a very good book that talks about this. I'll give you in the end, it's the Force of Habit, which is very good. And it kind of really pushes to understand that this is possible, that are situations where this is more easy than others. And it has a lot to do with your attitude and your willingness to do this. Okay. Should I interrupt and wait for your questions, comments, or you want me to go ahead?
I just have a comment, Sandra. That actually, the thing is that we can always be more smarter and smarter every day. It's something like people like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger are always telling, right? To go to bed every day smarter. So, and both of them, they read a lot, right? I believe that Warren Buffett reads like more than 300 pages per day. So I also agree with you that through reading and through exercising our brains, we can actually be more smarter and more capable.
Yeah. You have, of course, to, again, reading and study is not synonym of being better, because you have to be aware that you probably could have been working in the same profound things where you are already, okay? So, and this is not bad, again, this is not bad. And as you said, if you go to bed smarter every day, it's improvement, okay? The thing here is, and I'm going to get there in a minute, is I think that we should start to discuss between this improvement in one line or this transversality where you can do several things and change from one thing to the other with the same level of of profundity. I don't know if you say it like this, in each case. Okay. So any more comments or?
The question is, if you are asking for one, is how you link the growth mindset with the company culture.
Yeah, well, I will go to that, but let me say that growth mindset, of course, it has a lot to do with attitudes, with the self attitude. But if you are in a context where this is promoted, is more likely for you to have the right attitude to, again, to change and to be to challenge yourself. Because again, let's imagine that you are in a company that does not tolerate failure, that only evaluates people by being the best, that only evaluates people by technical competencies. Is it possible for a person to have a growth mindset? Yes. But, you know, when you work in this kind of habit loop, whenever you go to that part of the reward, it's like everything around you does not reward really your behavior. So it's like when you try to be innovative in a company that doesn't need you to be innovative, or that is not prepared for you to be innovative. So again, you have to have more strengths to just reward yourself, because all the context is not going in the same direction. Okay. We will talk a little bit about more this in front. Okay, so I'm going to move, but please interrupt and just comment on what you feel like. Okay. So the thing is, if you're really aware that this happens, then you're more likely to have the tools to change. Okay. And this has a lot to do when, again, we talk about unconscious bias, and we have unconscious bias about lots of things. And the unconscious bias are the connections that our brain does. So if you are aware of this, and this is human, so everybody has to be conscious that in one way or the other, in front of one situation or the other, there are biases that are strong for some, and they may be not so strong for others, but it's impossible not to have this bias. So it's important to have this conscious that you do, your brain, maybe your brain is making tricks on you. So again, the idea is if you really want and you have conscious, you'll be in a better position to then make these different connections and to change. And if you imagine that you do this in an easy way, or in a more easy way, you can understand that this really catalyzes transformation, because it's going to be easy for you to, one, think of things in different perspectives, always question yourself, and then be open to other ways of do things, of think about things. And so again, this will get you to a point where you be more adaptable, where you can deal with challenges in a more easy way, especially because you know that mistakes are part of this construction, and then you are always improving. At least you have the idea that you can always improve. And this is, I think it's the first part, to have this confidence and this enthusiasm when you go through problems and you go through situations. About mistakes, and people, we've been thinking a lot of this, the thing of mistakes. And there's this thing that you should tolerate mistakes, and mistakes are part of the things, and it's good to make mistakes, it's good to fail. Yes and no. So again, if you fail and fail and fail and fail and fail and fail, it's not good. It's good when you fail and you understand that that's a failure and you're improving on that failure. So, and that's a good thing. Again, I've been hearing a lot about failures and mistakes, and sometimes I have this feeling that we do need to incorporate failure in our process, and it's not like that, because failure will happen every time. It's the way that you deal with it and how you learn over it, and that's the thing of the growth mindset. You learn over the failure and over the mistake, and you get over it. It's not that it doesn't affect you. Yes, affects you, but it's how do you recover and what do you make with it. Okay, it's not. And if you are on a more fixed mindset, you will probably have more difficulties dealing with it and just getting over with it. Okay. And why is this important? And we talked a little bit about this, because these guys are coming, and these guys are actually guys that know how to do things very well, very well. So when we were talking about fixed mindset and being the best in class, the best student, these guys are going to do it by you. So if we're talking about being the best, it's going to be easy not to be the best compared to these robots, to this artificial intelligence that is going to build on what we do in a specific way and then just improve it by there. And I do believe that this is good, and that for us humans, our role is going to be different. It's going to be a role where you have to take decisions in complex situations, where you have to be innovative, where you have to be creative, where you have to do something that these guys don't do, which is evolve from what is happening and matching two different things and then create a third different thing, which isn't sometimes the sum of the two that you just used. So we do have to find ways to change, to contribute in a different way, to be valuable in a world that is constantly changing, and now it's very quick the way we change. And again, where our the challenge again is not to be the best doing something, is how can we improve over the things that are being done. So how can I go to a process, and after I put a robot there, how can I improve that that process? How can I make that work in a way that it's more even that gets more value to the company, more value to ourselves, make our lives better? So I think this is going to be our role in the future. That's why I think growth mindset will give us the tools to deal with this transition, with this facility to change from one thing to the other, to again think of different things and then make connections that seem that doesn't seem probable in the first place. Again, but that's my opinion. So how do we grow a different mindset? Again, we talked a little bit about this. And it has a lot to do with attitude. It has a lot to do with having the conscience that we do have connections, and that it's when we are in front of a challenge, it's natural that we're going to push to our comfort zone. Again, an expression that is much used in companies. Because the comfort zone is the zone where you actually know how to do things. So you have to have this conscience, and then you have to challenge yourself. And and then be confident, believe that you can do better, go after problems, solve them, see problems as a thing that makes part of your learning process. Get the best of feedback. Again, feedback is a tool that most of people don't know how to use. And I'm not talking about the ones that give feedback. I'm talking about everyone that hears feedback. And the first reaction is to be defensive or to deconstruct what is being said or to go after what is being said. So feedback is a very powerful tool when you know how to listen and when you know how to filter what's there. And then, well, with your confidence and with your mindset to have the flexibility to start again and to see that as a part of the process, and to see that as something that really contributes to being better and better and better. From the company side, and this was the question of, I think, Luis. Of course, everything is easy if you have the context that really is aligned with this concept. And I do believe that all companies need to be more and more aligned with this concept. Although sometimes we don't see it, and we still tend to live in a world where IQ and knowledge and technicity is valued instead of other competencies. But I'm seeing lots of companies doing this movement. It's not going to be, again, a black and white movement. It's going to be a movement where, I'll give you an example. When you are going to recruit people, you put in the same page the background and the knowledge, and then the attitudes. And then you look for that attitudes actively when you're doing an interview, or when you are on a project, or when you are challenging someone. So, and this is something that you really have to look. And again, this is, I think, my last slide, where you asked me, how can we see this in others? And I would say that you can mostly see this in others when we challenge them, on when we are in hard situations, and hard and complex situations. Because and you need to understand, if it's only, again, the things that you already know that are useful, that contribute to what we're doing, or if we need people to just think ahead, think differently, bring examples that don't match with what you are saying, are not stressful, they maintain optimistic when everything goes wrong. And this you can create in several situations. If this is really what a company wants, we can change recruitment process, we can change talent management processes, we can change assessment processes, we can change the way how teams work in projects. We talk a lot about agile now, and agile, this means that you work in teams, you don't work with a normal hierarchy. So again, it's not easy to understand that you have to perform this for these people to see. So you are all in the same position in an agile team. And the idea is everybody contributes. So there are lots of situations that really can change to make this more evident in companies. And to make this more visible and to really promote this kind of thinking within companies. It's not only about training. Yes, we can tell people, well, this is fixed mindset, this is growth mindset, go ahead and do it. It's about the context where we are and the context that you create as a company to move these persons and to put them in front of challenges and things that change. I'll give you another example from the company side. There are companies that in every 2 years or every 3 years move people around. And there are others where internal mobilities are not as well seen. And people still talk about, well, I've trained this person, so I expect him or her to stay here for at least 5 years. So it's different things that give different expectations and informations to people. So again, it's all about context. No, it has a lot to do with attitude and personal interest. And yes, if you are in a company that moves like this, you will probably be more reward to your brain. And so you're probably more attentive to these kind of behaviors. And it's going to be easy for you to work more in a growth mindset than in a fixed mindset. Okay, so does this make sense? This is actually my last slide, and we have 30 minutes as agreed to Q&A. I leave you with there's a lot of books, lots of things about this subject. These 2 books are my favorite ones, and I do really like this movie, which is, well, between a movie and a documentary, which is very old, but actually it's very, very good. It's What the Belief Do You Know? You look on YouTube and you'll see the whole movie there. And then you have The Power of Habit, that talks a lot about how we can change our brain connections and how can we do it, and Thinking Fast and Slow. And I don't know if you know these books, but one of the things that I really like is that they are all based on research. So it's not concepts that someone talks just because it's funny or just because they think it would work. No, it's all based on research. So you see there that this is actually a thing that has a scientific basis, and which, well, for me, it's very good. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Sandra, for the brilliant presentation. And indeed, Daniel Kahneman actually won a Nobel Prize in economics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a very smart guy. Now we are
Let
open.
me just tell you something very funny about this book. It's
of course.
One thing that I've learned here is that this brain thing goes both sides. It's on one hand, if you do different behaviors and then you reward yourself, you establish new connections. But they actually understood that it can go the other way around. And there's an example there, that is, if you put a pencil in your mouth and it's like you do like this and it's like you're smiling, you have more probability to find jokes, amusement, than if you are not smiling and if you're not pushing your face to smile. So this is actually, I think it's very useful, because sometimes we wake up, we're not so so funny, and we had a hard night. And I actually learned that if I push myself to smile, then it's more probably to have a good day than if I don't do that. So again, and you have lots of research there, and it's actually very, very 2 good books about these items.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Sandra. Well, now we are open to Q&A. If the audience have a question, please unmute yourself.
I don't think I can see the people or the hands, so please, Claudio.
Yes. I'm looking the audience. We don't have questions, but I do have a question, Sandra. I want to know your thoughts about an environment of competition, especially in the companies. Do you think that represents like a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? Because if I recall correctly from Dweck's book, Mindset, the Psychology of Success, when you are a growth mindset person, you are actually want other people to success, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I just think that Well, competitiveness is not, it's not always a bad thing. And it's true that if you want to be the best, you're very competitive. And this is fixed mindset. I want to be the best. And for me to be the best, you have to be the second best. Okay. Mm-hmm. When we're talking about growth mindset, I want to be the best, but I want you also to be the best. So I want to be better, and I want you to be better. And I compare myself mostly to myself. So that's a major difference. So I'm very okay with other people being as good as I am, mm-hmm. Even because I'm very sure that I can learn with other people that are as good as I am. And this is something that that these people value, is to learn, because they do understand that they want to improve, and to improve is to learn by others, to learn with yourself, to share with others. So they understand that they cannot do it by themselves. And this is, of course, something that you can see in companies when you really value, again, when you talk about agile, when you talk about cooperation, when we talk about new ways of working, it mm-hmm. has a lot to do with this kind of things. Instead, working with information, okay? And I would say that happened a lot in the past, still happens. So I had the information, I kept it to myself because I wanted to be the best managing that information. So of course, this has implications. And again, and going to the brain and going to attitude, if you are a more confident person, if you believe in yourself more than you don't, it's going to be easy for you to deal with this situation. Mm-hmm, so again, and you would like to develop others. You see yourself in developing others. It's a long way, because and it's not one company or two companies. No, it's a long way because we're taught like this. It's like this in school. You have a scale. You have to be the person on the 5, and then you go to university and it's the same. And then you go to companies and it's more or less the same. Well, there are already companies that are evaluating with other methods, but in general, it's like this. It has been like this for years and years and years. So yes, we're having the conscience that we need to change. Yes, but it's a way. It's a way.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. Luis, he raised his hand, please.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Was really a good presentation and a good concept. The question is, and the thoughts are, the growth mindset is individual, is not collective, is individual. Now, you only can have a growth mindset if you find in your career good leaders. So I think that you should really relate your concept of growth mindset with leadership and values. Because without good leadership, you can have never, and values, you can never have a growth mindset inside the company. If you have a company that the leaders are not good leaders, they are not honest, they don't respect the people, they don't have common sense, you don't have a growth mindset inside the company, and you'll start losing people, and in the end the company will be destroyed. So the question and the thought is how you relate the concept of growth mindset that is a valid one, that is related to attitude, hard work, grit, and values. How you relate that to leadership. Have you thought about that? How you relate your concept of, because I can see that you are a specialist on growth mindset, how you relate the growth mindset concept to the leadership concept?
Okay, so yes, it has a straight connection. And I do believe that if you have good leaders, you will probably act more like this than if you don't. And actually, bad leaders, they really can diminish a person and diminish talent. Okay, so that's a fact. However, my thoughts around this go, you have leaders during your whole life. So there are people that don't go to universities, or they go to universities and in one point of their life, they decide to leader themselves. And so they do that for themselves. And this is very powerful. And I think that, again, when we have this within a company, and let's imagine that we have lots of these persons with a bad leader, I would say that it's more probable that the leader changes than the other way around. What happens is, again, the leaders that we have nowadays in companies, they come from a place where they have to be the best. And they couldn't share with anybody their weaknesses, their vulnerability. And if you show any weakness, people would take advantage. And so this is the mindset of many of the leaders that we still have in companies. Of course, that if you want to do consistent work around growth mindset, you have to change everybody. You have to change the board, you have to change the leaders, you have to change the managers, and then you have to change the people. Because another curiosity is, even if you have good leaders, it's not taken that everybody is going to have a growth mindset. And I see this a lot in companies. And I'll give you an example. I deal a lot with the people that we identify with as talents. So there are people that have big potential, major evaluations, and talking to them. And I say, what do you want for your career? Most of people, the answer is, I'll do what the company wants me to do. So actually, people look for this orientation, this path, and they feel comfortable in doing whatever people tell them to do. And I think in companies we are of course responsible for this, because we do job descriptions. And job descriptions are the first things that, in my opinion, need to end when we talk about growth mindset, because job descriptions, they tell you exactly what, or not exactly, but they give you a very clear on your orientation on what you are supposed to do. So you give that when you come to a company, and that's what you know that you are supposed to do. So it's difficult again to get out of this wheel and just make a difference. But yes, I do not make these kinds of transformations without looking first at leaders' behaviors and the behaviors that we expect from leaders. Because sometimes you do hire people that are innovative and with lots of willingness to change. And then again, you go to this context or to this leader that really is not prepared to deal with this kind of people. So what is going to happen is either they move people if they are very self-confident and they feel that they can be in another place, or they adapt to that leader. And that what's in the end makes the culture, and in the end makes lots of cultures that, well, I myself don't identify, but it's not one company, it's a thing that we have in lots and lots of companies. And it's easy not to have in startups because people come from another place. And again, probably they are leaders of themselves. But in big companies where you have all this school of people that come from where they came, you will probably look at this kind of culture where even if you want to change, it's very difficult.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. I don't know if we have one more question from the audience. Well, if not, before closing, Sandra, first of all, thank you so much once again. Before closing, we would like to capture this moment. So I would like to ask the audience to open their cameras so we can take a nice picture. Yes, please stop sharing.
Okay.
And Natalia, please tell us.
No, if I can do this. No, no.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, I will take a print screen. Smile. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so please follow us in our social media. Our upcoming event will be about digitalization in the refinery, most likely on the second half of July. So please stay in tune and have a pleasant Thursday. Ciao, ciao.